The rights of victim refers to the legal and moral entitlements granted to individuals who suffer harm as a result of a crime, ensuring they are treated with dignity, protected from further harm in form of proceedings, able to participate in the justice process, and provided access to remedies such as support, restitution, and compensation. The rights of the victim has four types. First is access to the justice and fair treatment. Second, compensation. Third, restitution. And last, assistance. So, access to justice and fair treatment, it ensures people can reach the legal system and ensures they are treated justly within it. Second, compensation. It is a right of a victim to receive financial or material payment for injuries, losses, or suffering caused by a crime, usually provided by the offender or the state when restitution is not possible. So, it helps cover medical expenses, lost income, and other damages resulting from the offense. Then, third is restitution. So, it is a right of a victim to be compensated by the offender for the loss, damage, or injury caused by a crime. It aims to restore the victim as much as possible to their original condition before the offense by requiring the offender to return property, pay for damages, or compensate for harm suffered. And last, assistance. So, assistance refers to the support and services provided to victims of crime to help them recover and cope with the physical, emotional, psychological, and social effects of the offense. So, this may include medical care, counseling, legal aid, shelter, and other forms of social support.
Today, we're gonna tackle about the 10 basic victims, right? So, the first one is to be treated with compassion and respect. So, una sa lahat, ang bawat biktima ay may karapatang ituring ng may malasakit at respeto. Hindi dapat sila i-judge or tratuhin na masama dahil dumaan na sila sa traumatic na karanasan. So, the second is right to be given information. They have the right to know dapat silang i-update sa takbo ng kaso, sa kanilang mga karapatan, at kung anong mga serbisyo ang available para sa kanila. So, the number three is right to present their view to the court. So, karapatan nilang mapakinggan. Victim should have the chance to express their side sa harap ng korte upang malaman ng judge ang totoong epekto ng krimen sa kanilang buhay. So the fourth one is right to receive legal aid and advice. So number four is the access to legal assistance. Hindi lahat ay may pambayad sa abogado, kaya karapatan nilang makatanggap ng tulong, legal o payo mula sa mga es- esperto, mga expert. So the number five is right to receive protection of privacy and physical safety. Mga importante na mga importante ng security. Dapat protektado ang kanilang privacy at physical safety laban sa anumang pananakit or intimidation mula sa suspect. So the number six is right to informal dispute resolution. So they have the right to inform dispute resolution. In some cases, kung maaari at safe, pwedeng dumaan sa mediation o pag-usapan sa labas ng formal court process para sa mas mabilis na settlement. So the number seven is right to receive social and medical assistance. Hindi lang legal help ang kailangan. Victims have right to medical and social support gaya ng counseling o financial aid para sa paggagamot. So, next one is the number eight, right to obtain restitution, and compensation. May karapatan nilang mabayaran sa pinsalang natamo. This is what we call restitution or compensation. Kailangan panagutin ang gumawa ng krimen para sa mga damages na naidulot nito. So, the number 9 is right to receive capacity building. So, right to receive capacity building. Layunin na tulungan ang biktima na muling makatayo sa sarili nilang mga paa sa pamamagitan ng seminars, skills training, or livelihood support. So the last one is right to receive cooperation. So finally, the right to cooperation. Kailangan ng maayos na pagtutulungan sa pagitan ng victim, ng pulisya at ng gobyerno para masigurong mabilis at maayos na makakamit ang hustisya ng biktima. So, that was all. Thank you.
Good day, ma'am. I'm Jero Specias. Today, I will report my part, which is all about Katarungan Pambarangay or Community Justice System. So first, I will read my report. Community-based justice system in the Philippines is the Katarungan Pambarangay, which is where disputes are resolved after being taken to the barangay. First, through mediation and conciliation before adjudication in court. It is beneficial to the victims as it provides them with a faster, free, and informal method of addressing the conflicts and reducing the court cases. If the penalties like light penalties or example ma'am, wala na bayaran na utang or misunderstanding lang within the community, hindi na kailangan mag-proceed pa sa court, no, para magbayad pagdako. So naman sila jurisdiction which is Katarungan Pambarangay na makaya settle, no, and enhancing the conciliation process and preserving the peace within the community, as well as ensuring that the concern of the victims are heard and addressed. So napako example ma'am, no, usa ka residente nagsumbong batok sa iyang silingan tungod sa panultihong makapasakit o gamay nga kadaot sa kabtangan. Imbis nga madto dayon sa korte, gipatawag sila sa kapitan sa barangay o lupon taga pamayapa. Sa panahon sa panagstorya o pagusay, nagpasaylo ang nagkasala nyo yun nga ayon ang nadaot nga kabtangan o bisaad nga dili usbon ang iyang gibuhat, isulat o gipirmahan ang kasabutan ug nahusay ang problema sa malinawon nga paagi nga walay pag-adto sa korte. So that's all to my report, ma'am. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm James P. Gonzalez and I am here to discuss the Witness Protection, Security and Benefit Program of the Department of Justice. So this government initiative is under the Republic Act 6981. So it aims to protect the witnesses essential for prosecuting criminal cases, and it offers qualified witnesses physical security, including police protection and secure housing, along with financial and social benefits like allowances, medical care, educational support, and livelihood support. Next is who can be admitted into the program. Any person who has knowledge of or information on the commission of a crime and has testified or is testifying or willing to testify. The witness in a congressional investigation upon the recommendation of the legislative community where his testimony is needed, and with the approval of the Senate and President or the Speaker of the House of Representatives, as the case may be. An accused who is discharged from an information or criminal complaint by the court in order that he may be a state witness. So that's all that can be admitted into the program. So the next one is who are disqualified for admission into the program. An applicant will not be admitted into the program if the offense in which his testimony will be used is not a grave felony, his testimony cannot be substantially corroborated in its material points, or he or any member of his family within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity has not been taken or threatened with death of bodily injury, or there is no likelihood that he will be killed. So that's the disqualified for the admission program. So the next one is, how is a person admitted to the program? So the Witness Protection Security and Benefit Program application form can be obtained from the secretary at the Department of Justice in Manila, or from the nearest regional state prosecutor. So the applicant process, including the actions taken and supporting documents, is confidential and cannot be disclosed without the written order from the Department of Justice or the appropriate court. What happens if an applicant is disqualified to be a witness? So the witness is required to enter a memorandum of agreement with the government. So the witness have required, or which is required general, to enter a memorandum of agreement with the government if you want to be a witness, or you want to state during a trial. So what benefits may a witness under the program receive? So the witness will receive the critical protection such as police security, escorts and surveillance, as well as a safe housing or relocation to a secure area when necessary. So the program also provides financial support, educational support, health care, allowances, and others. So next is, so what will happen to a witness who refuses or fails to testify? So he may be arrested or detained and prosecuted for perjury or contempt. When is a witness discharged from the program? When he fully already testified or has completed on his witness duty, or next is if he fails or refuses to testify. Next, if he is no longer regarded as a necessary witness, or if the danger falls away. So lastly, what benefits are given to a witness who is honorably discharged from the program? After being honorably discharged as a witness, he and his family member within the second civil degree of consanguinity or affinity may be relocated in an area where he will be all safe, or they will be all safe, and or given a new personal identity, and he may also be given one-time financial assistance for his support and that of his family. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Hello ma'am, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. So right now I'm reporting about the Victim Compensation Program. So Victim Compensation Program is a law creating the Board of Claims under the Department of Justice, granting decision in victims of violent crimes. And this law was created by compensation for victims of unjust of imprisonment. It is in RA 7309. So what is the rationale for the enactment of the law? So one of the more vexing problems in the area of justice and human rights is the implementation of the constitutional provisions against the deprivation of life. So deprivation of life, liberty, and property without due process of law. So who may apply for this compensation? A person who was unjustly accused or convicted, and a person who was unjustly detained and released without being charged, a person who is victim of arbitrary detention by the authorities as defined in the revised penal code under a final judgment of the court. So this these are the requirements to apply for compensation. So when should a claim to be filed? The claim should be filed with the board by the person entitled to compensation under this act within 6 months after being released from imprisonment. So in this field in this file, ma'am, when you file it, you need to pass it within 6 months 6 months after being in prison. So how is a claim filed? So a claimant may file a claim with the board by filing up an application form provided for the purpose with the Secretary of the Board of Claims, Department of Justice, Padre Faura Street. Thereafter, he will be interviewed and he will be duly notified of the taken of the board. So, mo na ang pag-claim sa file. So, how much is given to the qualified applicant? For the victim of unjust imprisonment, it is 1,000 pesos per month. And all maximum with the board may, in all cases maximum for which the board may provide, a claim shall not exceed to 10,000 pesos. So, in this amount, it is necessary to reimburse the claimant to expense incurred for the hospitalization, medical treatment, loss of wage, or loss of support. So, the Commission of Human Rights will exist under a constitutional mandate to act as an independent office to protect and promote the human rights. So, in this commission, they provide financial assistance and victims of human rights of violation. So they help alleviate suffering and sustain their basic need with specific period. So in Republic 8505, Rape Victim Assistance and Protection of Act 1998, Section 3, Rape Cases Crisis Center, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or what we call DSWD, and DOH of Department of Health, and DILG of Department of Interior and Local Government, and DOG of Department of Justice, and the NGO, non-government organization with track record or experience in handling sexual abuse cases shall establish in every province and city rape crisis center and located in government hospital or health clinic. So in this RA 8505, ma'am, they provide rape victims with psychological counseling, free legal assistance or service when necessary for the rape victims, and assisting rape victims investigation to para mapaspas, para mahasin ang ilang case, and ensuring the privacy and the safety of the rape victim. So Section 4, duty of the police officer. Upon receipt by the police of the complainant of for rape, it shall be the duty of the police officer. Yung duty, ma'am, is immediately refer to the case to the prosecutor. Dapat paspason niya mayo if the accused is detained. Otherwise, the rules of case shall apply. Arrange for counseling and medical service for the offended party. So, it shall be the duty of police officer or the examining physician who must be the same gender as the offended. So, bawal lahing gender ang mohilabot sa rape victim. Dapat same nga gender. So that only person explicitly authorized by the offended party shall be allowed inside the room where the investigation or medical or physical examination is being conducted. For this purpose, a woman desk must be established in every police precinct throughout the county to provide a policewoman to conduct an investigation of complaint of the rape. So, Section 5, protective measures. At any stage of the investigation, prosecution, and trial of a complaint for rape, the police officer, the prosecutor, the court, and its officers, as well as parties to the complaint, shall recognize the right to privacy of offended party and the accused. So, Section 5, ma'am, to protective measures. Section 6, the rape shield. So, in rape shield, in prosecutions for rape, evidence of complaint past sexual conduct, opinion for thereof of his reputation shall not admitted unless the only extent that court finds the charged evidence material and relevant to the case. Thank you, ma'am.
So, good day everyone. Today I'm gonna tackle about the Commission on Human Rights and the Republic Act 8505. So, Commission on Human Rights is an independent government body in the Philippines created by the 1987 Constitution. So, sila tong i-investigate sa mga human rights violation o nagatabang sa mga victim na nag-seek of justice. Then, Republic Act 8505, Section 3, Rape Crisis Center. So, Rape Crisis Center kay mga facility na gina-set up sa government, sa mga province o sa city. Ug sila ang gahatag og comprehensive assistance sa mga rape victims such as psychological counseling and therapy and medical and health service. Then Section 4, duty of the police officer. So sila mga ga-facilitate sa mga victim ug nagahatag og examination, and sila po ang nag-refer sa mga victim sa Rape Crisis Center. Then Section 6, Rape Shield. So, Rape Shield law is meant to protect the victim from being humiliated, blamed, or unfairly judged. So, ang purpose niya was nag-prevent sa victim na victim blaming, encourage sila sa victim to report sexual crimes, and keep trials focused on the act in questions, not the victim's character.